Yeah, so talking about Sophia Stewart. Sophia Stewart is a lady from Las Vegas that claims that she wrote the Terminator movies and the Matrix movies in 1981, and it was both movies were actually supposed to be part of the same story, which is called The Third Eye. This is the story. This is the book that she wrote in the 70s and then copyrighted it in 1981. But she sued Warner Brothers and the Wachowski brothers, and then there was all this stuff on the internet that was saying that she won the lawsuit. Turns out she didn't actually win the lawsuit, she just won the right to keep the case open. But years later, the case was actually dismissed. So she didn't get anything from the lawsuit, I don't think. And if she heard me say that, she probably wouldn't like it that much. But what I thought was interesting about her, aside from the case, besides the legal claims, was actually her take on the Terminator concepts and on the Matrix. So in her book, The Third Eye, this is all according to her. So in her book, The Third Eye, the Terminator, the character in the Terminator and the blueprint of the Terminator is the same for the Matrix. So they're supposed to be part of the same story. And so in Terminator, what happens is the machines have enslaved humanity, just like in the Matrix. So it's the same concept. The machines have enslaved humanity. And they hear of a prophecy that a boy of natural birth would be born from a woman that in the future, when he grows up, would lead the rebellion and take out the machines. So they hear of this prophecy, the machines. So what they do is they send a Terminator, a machine wrapped in human flesh, so he blends in with the humans. And then this is also the claim that Sophia Stewart has. She says H.G. Wells, because he grew up in the in the Iron Age, robots from the Iron Age up until the 80s looked like tin cans. And then she claims to have first introduced the idea of a robot wrapped in human flesh, the Terminator. And the first time we saw that actually was Westworld. So I don't know what she's talking about, because in Westworld there's Yul Brynner, and he's a robot wrapped in flesh too. So yeah, I don't know if she's exactly accurate about that. But anyway, I'll tell you what is interesting about what she says though. So in Terminator, getting back to the story, they send a Terminator back in time. So first of all, she got the story for Terminator and The Matrix. Like I said, again, this is what she's saying from the book of Revelations, from the Bible. So if in the book of Revelations in the Bible, mankind had gotten carried away with his ability to create, his ability to also manipulate genetics, and then so mankind starts messing with chimeras and making a lot of Frankensteins, artificial births, and what happens is the future humans become soulless and seedless. So this is what it says in Revelations. That's why the Messiah or the Savior or the person that's born to lead the rebellion has to be born from a woman, has to be born of natural birth, because that way they'll have a soul. So this is how the story goes. And that's why they'll have the power. It's like a spiritual warfare. Only they will have the spiritual power to defeat the machines. So only this person would have the spiritual power to defeat the machines. So John Connor, the name of the boy that was born from Sarah Connor is his mom, he's the one, same character as the one, Neo, in The Matrix. So what happened, John Connor, also aka Jesus Christ. So what happens is the Terminators hear of the prophecy that a woman is going to give birth to the Messiah that is going to lead the rebellion to take out the machines. So they send a Terminator back in time to kill Sarah Connor, to kill her. Meanwhile, the humans also send back a human named Kyle Reese back in time to protect Sarah Connor and to take out the Terminator. And Kyle Reese, the human that's sent back in time, he doesn't know anything about how the child is going to be born or anything like that. But little does he know, it's actually he's the father. But he doesn't know that. So what ends up happening is, as he's trying to save her from the Terminator. They sort of fall in love, and they have sex. And then after they have sex, and he saves her from the Terminator, guess what? He has to go back to the future. He can't stay in the past, so he has to go back to the future. So now nobody knows who the father of this child is. He doesn't even exist because he went back to another realm into the future. So it's considered an immaculate conception, and he is the one. But in Terminator, he's John Connor, aka Jesus Christ. So you could see the same exact blueprint from Terminator in The Matrix. It's all about the second coming of Christ. And then so that's why in Terminator says, "I'll be back." It's like second coming of Christ. That's actually one of the things that she was talking about when she in the lawsuit, was that in her book it says "we'll be back," and then in the Terminator it says "I'll be back." But yeah, her name is Sophia Stewart. You could look her up, also aka Mother of the Matrix. Trippy ass lady. Like I don't really believe her lawsuit, but I do believe that she did write a book. I mean, the book is out there. You could read it yourself. It's on Amazon. And I think she's really creative and definitely knows her stuff when it comes to sci-fi and Egyptology and religion. And so it's interesting to get her perspectives on a lot of things, even though, yeah, she probably didn't really write The Matrix or The Terminator, but it's still interesting, her take on both of those movies. And then also, she wrote something really similar herself. So yeah, Second Coming of Christ, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Sophia Stewart, Terminator, The Matrix, Machines. And then she talks about The Matrix 4, which is interesting because that's the next one that's coming out, like Evolutions. She wrote her own version of The Matrix 4. She calls it Evolutions. I don't know what the new one is called. But so now I'm going to give my theory. I'm going to give my theory after listening to her. I think that because the metaverses are arriving right now, the different metaverses, all these video games, crypto. My friend plays these a lot. These cryptocurrency games, you can make money while playing them through crypto. And then you have the Facebook thing turning to Meta. There's going to be dozens and dozens of metaverses, and then no one's even going to call it the metaverse. They're going to just, nowadays, nobody calls the internet the information superhighway. It's just the internet. So there's going to be dozens of these metaverses coming, and the world will become more hyper-real, which is more real than real, or even better than real. Because you already see this, Unreal Engine, this video game software, you can create worlds. It looks pretty much identical to reality, if not better. You can actually make people, things, objects, environments, nature look even better than they do in reality. Because sometimes reality, things don't look as good as they do in movies or in pictures. So now you can actually create worlds, entire worlds, that look better than reality. So that's known as hyper reality, and that's where we're heading. And then so my theory on The Matrix 4, the one that's coming out, is that it's about 4D. It's about waking up in the fourth dimension. And so why I think that this is happening is because if you look at the third dimension consists of depth, height, and width. So past, present, and future. So that's 3 points of view. And then when you add a fourth dimension, you add a line that connects height, width, and depth, past, present, and future. So now there is no time in the fourth dimension, and it's like dream time. So in dream time, so that's why to perceive the fourth dimension from the third is a paradox, because you can't. Because the third dimension is past, present, future, you're locked into time. It's only in the fourth dimension where you connect all that, and so now time doesn't even exist. It's like in a dream time, you could be one place, turn your head, look around, and now you're in a totally different place. And so this is basically what the new metaverses that are arriving is going to achieve. You can be in your living room, then all of a sudden you're in another country, or you're in a conference room, or we're heading into this ability to bypass time. So this is like waking up in the fourth dimension, and then when you leave the physical body, because that's what you're basically doing in metaverses, virtual reality, is you're leaving your body behind, and then you're taking on avatars or these other computer generated bodies. And so that's pretty much 4D. So that's what I think, and that's the hidden meaning that is unplanned that I see. Because a lot of things are unplanned. A lot of artistic things and a lot of geometry ends up being revealed without being planned. So that's why even like people are trying to make a city and make it flow and make it operational and functional, but they're not trying to make a design or a fractal design. But what ends up happening is the design forms a fractal. Same thing when the galaxy is unraveling all